Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
First off, we just want to say Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
Call halal.
Allah.
Yahweh. Bahashem. Yahweh Shai. Bahashem. Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, peace and salutations to the hopeful elect brothers that's pushing this word in sincerity and faith. Me and the brother Ainai in the camp, he was in the spirit, he brought some topics to me. Well, it came through a testimony the brother actually had about in his personal life. If I could just say, and you could expound, he was saying how his father found out, what he believes in pretty much. And it's things that brothers that, have experience in the faith we all go through, in this thing of ours. So he was just getting, basically just admonishment of how to handle that situation and deal with it better. And furthermore, just put something on wax to exhort brothers that's going through similar situations. You may be young in the faith, you may be under your parents' roof, or whatever the case is, you know what I'm saying? Just, we're just gonna go in on how to deal with your family situations, within this thing of ours, without losing your integrity, without compromising. What you was fully persuaded in your mind was the truth. And having that belief that you're going to receive salvation for doing whatever it is that is making everyone, as far as your so-called family, disagree with you on. We just going to polish that on the testimony and then just hit aspects of it. So you want me to get the first scripture or you want me to read it?
I can read it in verse 32.
I'm
going to start off verse 32.
Yeah.
It's Matthew chapter 10, verse 32. It says, "Whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Father which is in heaven." Okay. It says, verse 33, "But whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven."
That's right. So we know as prophets, man, we can't be ashamed of the testimony of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. That's why you got to make your body a living sacrifice and go out on the highways and the byways, man, where, you just in the gates, you're out there in the hedges where you open to whatever is going to come. You know what I'm saying? That's how you basically come in the light of Yahweh Shah, man. You can't be ashamed of the testimony of the gospel, man, because the Yahweh Shah said the Father's going to be ashamed of you in that day. You know what I'm saying? All that say, Lord, Lord, you know what I'm saying? They're not going to enter into the kingdom, basically, man. Go ahead.
It says, verse 34, "Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword."
That's right. So Yahweh Shah, you had a red letter Bible, words were being read. He says, "Think not that I come to bring peace on this earth." You know what I'm saying? I come to bring the sword. And furthermore, it's going to come in divisive natures, man. It's going to be just complete division. Mother against a father, father against son, just strife. Everything starts within the family and then it just branches outward. And right now, we're in the age of just complete wickedness and decadence in America, man. It ain't no moral fiber. Ain't no family structure furthermore. So, for brothers that's in the faith, that have to deal with family, we just trying to tell you how to deal, This truth comes before everything, man. You gotta have faith at the end of the day. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, that maybe your family comes around or maybe they don't, man. But the point is just you can't be ashamed of the gospel for one, but at the same time, you gotta know how to deal, with family. You're gonna have to forsake family at the end of the day. So really, if you're a younger brother and you got the means to get up out of your parents' situation, man, by all means, take that avenue. Because that's only going to help your growth in the truth, man, where you can really come into the essence and the certain requirements that it takes to serve the Lord, as you grow through faith, We just going to get, some examples and things of that nature, Because that was a beautiful testimony, Because we all have to go through this, People maybe think just because we're on the highways and the byways teaching the word, teaching these scriptures, that we just some, these other type of guys that just came from off the island or something. We're regular people, man. We're regular people in the flesh, man. Brothers have, this so-called normal situations that everybody has to deal with, including family. So this is just a punishment for how brothers need to deal, and also furthermore, just keeping the perspective on point. This truth becomes before your family. You may have to forsake your family at the end of the day if it's just causing you to not really increase and build in the faith, or if it prohibits you, if you're a man of belief, to go out and push the word. So like you, brother.
No, it's all good. I was just when you said that just now about having maybe to forsake your family, that's what Peter and the disciples did. All the 12 disciples did. They forsook. The scripture said, "Lord, we have forsaken all. What shall we have therefore?" They did have families. They might have had a wife or children, but they forsook that to follow Yahushua. I'm gonna keep reading here in verse 35. It says, verse 35, Matthew 10 and 35. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
And it says, I come to set a man at variance against his what?
Against his father, and the daughter against her mother.
Right, that's just complete strife in the household. As a matter of fact, can we look up that word variance in that scripture real quick? That's beautiful, man. So the Lord said he's going to stir up a spirit of variance between father and son, mother and daughter, man. What's that talking about? Because we can already see it, man, playing out that way either way. The family structure is just completely broken, man. A lot of the parents are too overworked and consumed to try to pay debt to really have the proper supervision over their children and really establish certain things from the get-go, man. So it's just complete disorder in the household for most parts, man. Kids cursing their parents out, just stealing the car, just all types of just misbehavior and disrespect, man. And even now, Esau got it set up. You really can't punish your children, So it's just complete disorder. But the scripture says that this will be happening in the last days, man. This is examples that Yahushua spoke. It carries on to his disciples today that are preaching the word. You know what I'm saying? The disciples that was back then, really they back now. But this is all just admonishment of what's going on in this time. Go ahead.
The word at variance in the Greek is Strong's G1369, Ikazo, which means to cut into two parts, cleave asunder, and sever.
That's right, sever. So that means just division. That's what it is. A father at variance against his son, and the mother against the daughter. That's just complete. It's no order. They're not on one accord. There's no union. You know what I'm saying? And more you're seeing that divisive spirit, whether it be in the family structure and just the whole general populace of people all together, man. Everyone's just divided in mind. No one's on one accord or equal standard, man. It's just a big free fall of everything. But these are the things that's gonna happen that gonna lead up into the destruction. That's gonna be brought forth by Yahushua, the people, the man rather, that all these pastors falsely taught that's coming back to bring love for everybody. That's not true. And we're seeing it play out, man. This is all prophecy at the end of the day also, man. We're actually seeing this type of stuff play out, including for brothers, on the flip side of the coin, who actually sacrifice or sever those ties like we just read, or put yourself at division with your family for believing and doing this work. That's gonna come. That's part of counting the cost also, to be a disciple, to be a follower, a worshiper of Yahushua, man. It may come at the expense. Hey, you might have to cut off your family, sever. You might have to sever that tie. That's a variance in strife anyway, really. But even more so when proclaim, when you're not ashamed of the gospel. But like I said, if you're in a situation where you're living with your family, or this truth of ours is supposed to be precious. That's for you, man. I mean, they won't notice certain things that you don't do or that you abstain from. It's going to be certain things within your spirit that's changed. But if you just walk in wisdom, respect your parents, and really just don't really be around that much, man. If you have the ability, just be around the brothers, man. But that's not to say, because some brothers may deal with their family. It's different situations for different brothers, but just based on your situation in the spirit, you gotta judge it. You know what I'm saying? For younger brothers, man, don't be doing too much, man. You know, if you in a situation where you living under your mom's roof, man, you gotta respect to their ways to a certain level. And when it comes to, you know, really trying to enforce the truth at the house, you cursing out your mother for you know, for cooking pork, and you know, you just being a lion in the household, man, that's completely out of order. And we don't condone that in any way at Great Millstone. You know, we gotta deal in this thing with wisdom, man. Not as no niggas, man.
This is Romans chapter 13. Romans chapter 12, verse 18, I'm sorry. It says, but if possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men.
That's right. If all means possible, man, be at peace with all men. That's easy to do. That's simple instruction, man. Just be a lowly sheep, you know. You don't have to vocalize to everybody what you think you know, man. You know, we really got to be Clark Kent. The brothers use that analogy all the time, but you know, this truth is precious, man. You ain't supposed to want to reveal your hand to everybody, especially your family, because for the most part, a lot of brothers' family just ain't really gonna get down with this truth, man. You know? But for certain brothers' family who cool, you deal accordingly based on your situation. But, you know, understand this, that if you come to serve Yahweh Shah, that this is potentially the outcome, man. You could put yourself at instant variance or division to where ties could be severed with your family. That's just part of that sacrifice for serving Yahweh Shah that we make. You know what I'm saying? Or carrying our cross. You want to add something? You got another precept?
Yeah, there's more on this because the scripture that we wanted to get, I still got to read it. A couple more verses. It says in verse 36, and a man's foes shall be they of his own household.
That's right. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household, man. So really, if you're a man of the faith, you really don't want to be revealing your hand up to your family, because in that day where Esau could be shut down things and forcing people to get the RFID microchip, man, like if Esau looking for you or something, if they put us out there to be terrorists and all of that, your family, if it's them or you, they'll be willing to, more than happy to give you up, man, to Esau. Without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, he was believing in all that stuff, talking about America was going to be destroyed, this and that, you know. Hey man, you better watch your mouth, man.
Hey, and why is it that they would do that? You would think, oh, in my family they won't do that. They're going to do that because first of all, they're not in the truth, so their mind isn't clean. So you know, your family has particular demons on them, and they would do stuff that you know that 2/3 would do, because some of your family members are going to be 2/3. You know what I'm saying? That's just something that you can't change. But when it comes to revealing your hand, like the brother was saying, you don't really want to do that simply because they can use that what they know about you to, in their mind, basically save you, because they think that you're sick. You know, they think that something's wrong with you, so they'll go run to Esau and say, "Look, Esau, come, you know, come deal with him. He's tripping." And little do they know they're delivering you to Satan. So that's why it's important to be circumspect.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, automatically, if you believe in this truth, man, this world, matter of fact, get St. Matthew 3, start around, I think, 18. You know, if you proclaim to be a follower of Yahweh Shah, man, it's going to come with a lot of strife, man, in opposition to a way that's supposed to be pure and righteous, man. You know, the ways of Yahweh Shah is completely set against this world, man. You know, this world is controlled by Satan, and when you break down that word Satan, it's shaitan. It means adversary. Everything in this world which is controlled by Satan is adverse to Yahweh Shah, or adverse to the word, because Yahweh Shah is the word. So automatically, just by anybody in this world, man, outside of the elect of the nation of Israel, man, they're gonna be completely against you, really, if you down for this truth. That's just the reality of it. I mean, you may have some people that are more cooler than others, and you know, as far as the demon level, but eventually demons gonna come out if you're around that person. Go ahead and get that, Salaki.
Did you want John or Matthew?
I want Matthew.
Matthew 3 and 17 is the last verse.
Salaki. I think St. John 3:18.
Okay.
Salaki, yeah. Now, that's the one I'm thinking of. That light had entered into the world.
Yeah,
and it
19.
Yeah, Salaki.
John chapter 3, verse 19. And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men loved darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil.
That's right. And men love darkness rather than light because their deeds are evil. And that's the masses of the people in the earth today. You know, when you break down the word mass, it goes back to massacre, man. Because really in the spirit, most of these people in the world today, they were created to be destroyed. And further such because they're not going to rock with the word of Yahweh Shah, man. They're going to be against that. And furthermore, your family. They say you got to keep your family close. I might be messing the saying up or making something up.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies close.
Yeah. But, you know, pretty much family and business don't mix.
Right.
That's more so the appropriate, I guess, saying. Right. Family and business don't mix. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times. And this is Yahweh Shah's business when you really, when you proclaim to be a believer of Yahweh Shah, man, you start to do the Lord's business. So, hey, you're going to be in jeopardy of severing ties with family, man. That's just what's going to come with it. But, hey, you know, it's just business. It's not personal at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? But you already got to have it in your mindset that most of this world in general, if you learn this truth, and especially if you on a level of faith to start going out and teaching, man, you're gonna be the world is gonna be against you, man. If somebody knows that you're doing what you do, that's just the reality. We're in a world controlled by Satan. So that's why, brothers, because we got situations, we got to get our daily bread. We're not at work with our garment on and fringes, closing the door on Edomites. You know what I'm saying?
God.
Just slapping pork and stuff all around the break room at work. You know what I'm saying? We not doing that, man. We just normal citizens, man. A lot of brothers, all the brothers really way more upstanding citizens than you people, man. Than you people that are without the Yahweh Shah, that are not actually going out and pushing this word like brothers do, man. But at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. We're not trying to cast our pearls before swine. We're acting wise as serpents and harmless as doves, just to navigate, to be able to really be in a position to push this truth. Because we know if we do something stupid or out of pocket, that could jeopardize our potential to get that word pushed out. And that's what it's about at the end of the day. Finding ways to keep the business profitable. You got to keep the work flowing, man. So that's why you got to operate in wisdom in certain situations, because this world, they're completely against Yahweh Shah. And furthermore, like we're going into in this lesson, family's the fucking worst, man.
Yeah.
You know? Go ahead.
I had a precept in 1 John chapter 5, verse 19. It says, and we know that we are of the Most High, and the whole world lieth in wickedness. And we know that the Son of the Most High is come, and hath given us understanding, that we may know him that is true, and we are in him that is true. Even his Son, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Now, the reason I brought that out is because, you know, the brother mentioned just now about how majority of these people are in darkness, because as the scripture says, he that walketh out of the way of understanding remaineth in the congregation of the dead. All right, and when you're dead and you're in darkness, you don't have any understanding, and majority of these people don't, because the Most High hasn't given it unto them. And that's a tough pill to swallow for somebody who doesn't believe those words, you know, which is why it's so tough for them to understand reincarnation and all of these things that, you know, may not be expedient for you to try to teach everybody you meet, because the majority of people aren't going to get it. All right, but we know that he has given us understanding, you see, and we understand the prophecies because he reveals the secrets to his servants, the prophets.
That's right.
You know, so, you know, even though he revealed it unto you, our goal ultimately is to preach unto the elect. But we know that everybody in our family, you know, especially, of course, not these heathen, but, you know, because we want our family to make it, you might be enthusiastic to teach them, but it's not always the smartest thing to do, man. You know, especially if you're relying upon your family for stability. You know?
Right. That's right, man. You know, like, keep things simple, man. You know, you don't want to make things more difficult than they already going to be, just for you proclaiming to believe, like I'm going into, man, like we're going into in this lesson, man. You know, you want to try to navigate through this thing as easy as possible to put yourself in the best position to glorify Yahweh Shah through preaching His word. use your head, man. Watch your mouth. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing, so to speak, man. If you living under your parents' roof, man, if you believe, man, just grow and build up in the faith of Yahweh Shai and get yourself on a level to where eventually you can maybe get out of that situation to really go and do the works. Eventually, that should be your main objective, you know. But everybody, you know, we understand has a different situation, so you gotta pray and you gotta use balance just based on whatever your particular situation is, man. You know. But at the end of the day, we do understand that your family ain't gonna be with you, man. But you don't want to even make the fact that you know that even more difficult task to boot.
God.
You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot, man.
God.
Okay? That's why, like, in the scriptures, we're supposed to be the people of Jacob. Yahweh, we're supposed to be able to supplant.
Right.
Run game, man. At the end of the day, the Lord is building brothers up on levels. Use your head, man, to navigate through this system, man. To navigate through your family, man.
Right.
Whatever it takes for you to serve the Lord, man, to where you're going to be blameless, but even before them, if something does come to boot, you know?
God. I had
The scripture?
I had an example in John where Yahushua, the 6th chapter, where Yahushua basically he evaded the scene, or he left the scene in order to be able to continue to push the ministry, because his people were trying to make him you know, an exalted ruler, you know, after he did miracles. It's in verse 15, John chapter 6 and 15. If you want to, I mean, if you want me to, I can read it.
I can read it for you, brother.
Okay,
I'm going to break it down. John chapter 15.
John chapter 6, verse 15.
It's a lot.
Got it.
All right, this is St. John chapter 6, verse 15. It says, when Yahushua therefore perceived that they would come and take him by force to make him a king, he departed again into a mountain, himself alone.
God.
And when even was now come, his disciples went down into the sea.
Right. Well, that verse right there, verse 15, was the point, because he had did a miracle, you know, and all the people were praising him, and they were like, man, this guy needs to be ruling over us. But in order to continue to push the gospel, he didn't settle and say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be king over y'all and live in peace, and, you know, and rule over you. He understood that there was a greater mission at hand. All right, and he was able to basically supplant that situation and not say, oh no, I ain't finna be king, and you know, y'all wicked, quit trying to make me king, I got a job to do. He just left the scene, you know, he withdrew. So that's just one small example of just a spiritual decision that, you know, he didn't have to ask somebody, hey, what should I do? These people want to make me king. He just, you know, when we got to get to that point where we're just right there able to make a spiritual decision, you know, be able to pick the best out of multiple choice, which is the best decision, you know, on the drop of a dime.
That's
so
right.
I just want to bring that out real quick. That's it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful point, man. Because Yahushua, he understood, you know, because he knew all things, but he already perceived what they were going to do. So in order, like the brother said, to fulfill his father's business, man, because Yahushua had a ministry, man, he was hardcore set on fulfilling his course. And the scriptures tells you in Philippians the 2nd chapter, let this mind be in us or in you. That's also in Yahushua Mashiach. So we got to be about the Father's business, man. It's just business. It's nothing personal. So sometimes, you know, in order for the overall mission to continue to proceed, you have to take the low in certain situations. You got to not always reveal your hand, you know. In that instance, Yahushua dipped out just to avoid a situation, because he was on the other stuff, man. He had other fish to fry in the spirit, so to speak. Right. You know.
And if I may add, you know, that leads into how we should be in our daily lives, because we may have a job offering that opened up that, you know, you may be able to get paid more, you know, yearly or more hourly. Okay, but it's gonna take up way more of your time, and you already barely have enough time to read, you know, and study and watch the videos and pray and stuff like that. Now we have that time, but free time, that leisure time, is supposed to lead to prayer and things like that, and reading. And so if you have a choice between taking a matter of fact, I talk about that in Hebrews 11 chapter when Moses said, I'm not going to basically live in pleasures of sin for a season. I'm going to suffer with my people, you know.
Yeah, he willing to suffer
Sinful season, something
yeah,
like that.
the sinful season. Like
Yeah.
he suffered with his people rather than enjoy pleasures for a season.
Right.
Yep.
Right, and the reason that he did that was because he was spiritual and he saw that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. That light at the end of the tunnel ultimately is the kingdom, which is, since these people can't see, they think that we, are demented.
That's right.
But that's the most the scriptures say, and the rest were blinded. He's revealed unto us in these times the things that that the prophets were diligently seeking to understand.
Yep.
All right.
Can I get this real quick? Because I didn't want to mess that scripture up.
Come on.
This is Hebrews 11 and 24. It says, by faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of the Most High than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. It says, esteeming the reproach of Hamashiach greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. So that basically showed that Paul was looking at the bigger picture. He was looking for something way more grandiose down the road through Yahweh Shah on the back end, man. He knew that his time would basically come, So he basically just manipulated that situation to fulfill the Most High's will, to be able to lead our people out during the time where the Lord drowned Pharaoh's army, So that was just a power move of faith, man. And that's what it takes for brothers under that same spirit of Yahweh Shah, man. That type of faith, man, to know how to deal with certain situations, man. All to fulfill the mission, to fulfill your course, your walk, which the main task at hand for any brother who proclaims to be a believer is teaching, just being able to get the word up. And you don't want to block or put yourself in a position where that task will be lacking. That's what other scripture did you have?
I had Matthew 12 and 50.
Oh yeah, that's the one I wanted actually.
Yeah, Matthew 12.
Start at like unless you had another one.
Matthew 12, Matthew 13 and 57. Both of those.
Okay, we can get this in Matthew 12.
Okay. You want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me find a spot. Yeah, 46.
Okay.
Start at 46.
This is Matthew chapter 12, verse 46. While he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him.
And this is an account with Yahweh Shah, man. I think they were at a wedding, and it's an account, and the people, they was like, man, and your mother and your brothers, and basically his family, his immediate family, because Yahweh Shah actually had a family on this earth, even though he was doing his ministry, miracles, all types of things, he actually still had a family. Right. And they knew that. They knew that he had spiritual power. His mother, his brothers and sisters, they knew who he was. They knew he was the Messiah. So Jake, and sometimes you got to just deal with family. But look what Yahweh Shah said in this account. Go ahead.
It says, verse 47. Then one said unto him, behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. But he answered and said unto him that told him, who is my mother, and who are my brethren? And he stretched forth his hand toward his disciples, and said, behold, my mother and my brethren. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and mother.
That's right. So at the end of the day, man, everybody who's doing the will of the Heavenly Father, those are true brethren, those are true sisters, in the spirit of faith in Yahweh Shah. But that's not to negate, because Jake could get simple, like we saying that you just gotta totally just separate yourself from your family. If you got a cool relationship with your family, man, hey, navigate through wisdom, man, to maximize your potential in the faith, and still not sever that tie if it's not necessary, through you just being wise and applying wisdom and not running your damn mouth all the time about what you think you know. And if it's a situation where your family just being demons or otherwise, just praying to the Lord and just taking steps, having a plan to get out of that situation if you have the ability. Every situation is different based on every brother, but this is just general exhortation, because this is something that we all have to deal with. And the more you're in the faith, of course, these things sometimes get easier for some brothers than others. than when brothers initially came into the faith. But it's something that is relative that we all have to deal with, just because, you know, family is family. You know.
Yeah, and you love your family, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to see them hurting or down or anything like that. Just because we come into the truth doesn't mean you have to, you know, just completely hate your family, you know, and curse them out all the time. That's not what we're saying. Because Jude was actually the blood brother of Yahushua.
That's right.
You know, and Jude was a follower. He was a follower of Yahushua. So it's gonna be certain. It may be certain men, you know, that actually do, or you know, or women for that matter, that actually do believe in this thing. That's your family members, but just don't expect everybody to just come together and kumbaya agree with what you believe in, because it's more than likely not going to happen.
That's right.
You know,
and we understand that. And some brothers in the spirit, they don't really deal with their family. Yeah. You got to understand that too. But that may just be based on that brother's experience. He just figured out that it's just based that he don't even really deal with his family. Okay. But it all has to be in doses, man. Okay. Because any, you know, dealings with this world, man, you're putting yourself in danger. You know. But furthermore, when you got to walk within this world, you know, you got to navigate within these people in this world, or your family, just deal with wisdom, man. You know, like certain things gonna come up. It's mostly the diet, usually, or your beard, or whatever the case is. But just deal with it for what it is. Just keep it short and sweet, and don't even argue if it gets to that point. Just be like, you know what, yeah, you know, we don't agree, and just leave it at that. Right. And like, if it gets extreme, if you got to live with your family, work on a plan to get out of that situation. That's all we can tell you, brothers. But at the end of the day, man, you know, this is just an example. Yahushua, he had to deal with the same things. And he furthermore understood that the real brethren and the sisters are the people, are the ones who get down with this word, who do the will of the Heavenly Father. You know? So that's why we put more time and effort into building with brothers rather than our own family. You know? And you just deal with your family, just, you know, accordingly. But the body and the ministry, that always comes first. But if you have the ability to deal with your family, everything cool, just deal with your family, man. Nobody's telling nobody not to deal with their family. That's stupid. Right. You know, that just doesn't make sense, and that never came from Great Millstone. Right. We always clarify and just bring everything out through the proper balance, how the scripture meant or intended for it to be brought down or broke down. I think that was it on that account?
Yeah, that's it on that.
Okay.
And then we got that one. I have one in Matthew 13 and 53.
Okay. That's right there.
Matthew 13, actually, in 54. And then just read down to where it said, "Prophet is not without honor."
I got you. Okay. This is this is St. Matthew 13 and 53. It says, "And it came to pass that when Yahushua had finished these parables, he departed thence. And when he was come into his own country, he taught them in their synagogue, insomuch that they were astonished and said, Whence hath this man this wisdom and these mighty works?"
Right. So in verse 54 it says, when he come into his own country. So he went to the place where he grew up at, you know, into his own neighborhood. Imagine you go back to your own neighborhood and you start preaching, because, you know, at this time, you know, Jerusalem, all the Jakes were in, you know, they were in that one country of Jerusalem, and in the cities, you know, were real close, you know. So, you know, but, you know, we're over here in America, it's a lot more spread out, you know what I'm saying? But back then, this truth had to be spread out by word of mouth. So when he went back to his city and started preaching, they were like, well, hold on, I remember this dude was 6 years old, you know, playing with my little son. How is he trying to teach me, you know, that I'm going off and doing this? You know, how did he get all this wisdom? You see? If you keep reading, in verse 55 it says, "Is not this the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary, and his brethren James and Joseph and Simon and Judas?" You see? so they were like, I know his siblings. You know, Judas actually mentioned right there. And Jude, that's the man who wrote the book of Jude. But you know, they were mentioning his family members. They were like, we know this cat, you know, and that'll cause a demon to pop up in their mind to think, well, I saw him grow up. He can't be on a level. The Most High can't show favoritism, you know, and reveal to him certain things that I don't know. It says, "And his sisters, are they not all with us? Whence then hath this man all these things? And they were offended in him." You see, and that's how they view us. You know, particular of our family members, they might be offended in us because the Most High revealed unto us these things that we know. They asked, how does he know all these things? The Most High gave it to us. Okay? And so they were offended in him. And in verse 57 it says, but Yahushua said unto them, a prophet is not without honor, save in his own country and in his own house. Okay? Basically saying, you know, a man of the Lord isn't going to receive, is going to receive honor anywhere other than where he's from, where he's known, because they basically going to look down on you like, you know, I remember when you grew up, they were looking at it carnally versus spiritually.
Yup, because they don't understand the fact that when you are reborn into this faith, man, you washed from all that filth that's in the world. Okay. You know, in the spirit, you have a clean slate with the Most High, and you're working towards your salvation. Okay. We know we're in a huge deficit with the Most High through His Son, or well, through Yahushua, because that sacrifice, man. Okay. And we're basically trying to work to pay that off, man. So that's why we make our bodies a living sacrifice to serve the Lord, man. Trying to pay off that debt. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And we understand that as a part of that walk, man, it's gonna be just gonna be opposition with family, man. That's just something that's just gonna come about. You know, even if for brothers who got still solid relationships, it probably initially at least gonna kind of have a little tension or whatever. It's gonna be a little, you know, I can't put the word on what I wanted to say.
Skirmishes,
yeah,
you know,
uneasiness,
yeah,
you know,
kind of. It's gonna be uncomfortable for you and for your family member because they finding out like something that they don't agree upon is something that you are dead set on, and you're not gonna give it up, and that's gonna make them. That might make them feel a certain type of way, and then you feel a certain type of way towards them. Like, damn, you supposed to be on my side, and you disagreeing.
Yeah, and the thing is because like we had just said earlier, they looking at how you behave before, you know, you came into the truth, man. Okay. So any time something that you proclaim to put away gets brought back out, you giving them more fuel, you know, to call you a hypocrite and otherwise, man. Just, you know, discount the truth. Oh, that's garbage. Okay. So it comes with responsibility too, as far as like if you're gonna be around your family, man. If you proclaim to be in this truth, you better be about it, man. Okay. Instead of just running your mouth, your actions should be reflecting. Yeah. If you come into this faith, we talking about the Edomites, so-called white man devil. Yeah. 2/3 of our people ain't this and that. Okay. But you a lazy, just bum nigga, you know, getting out of bed at 1 and 2 every day. Right. You know what I'm saying? Playing video games all damn day.
Honeycomb for breakfast. And
you know what I'm saying? You ain't really putting yourself in a position to where you can have your own stable situation. Right. You know? You gotta, it's one thing to learn this truth, but you actually also have to be actively applying it to your life. Right. Meaning growing and becoming a better person. And that should really, even if it was a tense beginning, once your family learn you in this truth, but if they start just seeing you benefiting and you increasing in your life, then they'll maybe say, okay. Right. And that could be, you could convert the unbeliever that way. Right. You know? Right. It all starts with you at the end of the day, man, because if your family, through your example, if they at least believe, even though they might not be in the spirit to preach or, you know, carry on like you, the Lord can have mercy on your household just by you upholding yourself with integrity, man, and dealing with your family and walking the right way. You know? So you got to look at it in that aspect too, you know? Because you yourself, man, you always got to examine yourself. Right. You know, because your family, they, like I said, they're looking at the old you. Right. And any time where they can point out something that you're supposed to have changed, you know, they're going to bring it up. And that's rightfully so. Hey, you asking to be put in that hot seat. So it's best for you not to be running your mouth and exposing your hand and talking about and proclaiming what you think you know. You know? Right. Really grow and build yourself up in this thing, man. And just deal with your family accordingly. Knowing that at the end of the day, man, hey, if they destroy it, you know, that ain't on you, man. We all got a job to do. It's nothing personal, you know, for brothers that actually may have to sever ties with their family, you know. That's just something it has to be dealt with.
Con.
Did you have something else?
Yeah, I had precept, and then like I had one more written down. That's it.
Kind of. We could just finish off those and get ready to wrap it up.
Con. This is 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. It says, "Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers in word and conversation, in charity, in faith, in spirit, in purity."
That's right. And the reason and the way that you don't let anybody look down on your youth is by your action.
Right.
That's why Paul said in 2 Corinthians, I think 11, he says, or 2 Corinthians 10, when, matter of fact, we got to get it now.
Con.
When I was a child, I thought as a child.
Oh,
I think it's 2 and 11.
You see,
2 Corinthians, or maybe 13. 2 Corinthians 13 and 11.
I think that's 8. Let me check and see.
Yeah, just look it up on the concordance.
When I was a child, I spake as a child, right?
Yup.
Let's see. S-P-A-K-E, that old English.
Yeah, because I was just going to make a quick point, man.
Yeah, 2 Corinthians 13, 11.
Mm-hmm.
It says,
read that, what you had just read again.
okay. Let's go back here.
Oh, Salak, if you
No, it's all good.
You have it pulled up.
No, it's right here. It's 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. It says, "Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers in word and conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity."
Right. So we had just read, "Let no man despise thy youth."
Right.
So your best way to do that is just through your actions, how you living your life, not more than what you saying and proclaiming that you know whatever. As when you first join this truth and you just want to tell everybody, it should be more in your deeds, man. And that way, nobody can despise you, man. If you really in the spirit of being a man, handling your business,
right.
You know what I'm saying, really applying what you're learning. And that's why I want to get that in the Corinthians.
God, it's 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11.
Yup.
"When I was a child, I spake as a child.
Mm-hmm.
I understood as a child.
Mm-hmm.
I thought as a child.
Mm-hmm.
But when I became a man, I put away childish things."
And that's right. When you become a man, you got to put away childish things. In Luke, the 2nd chapter, when Joseph and Mary, they were looking for Yahushua, and they found him, in the temple, in the midst of the temple, asking questions and basically getting understanding from the priest, and the Pharisees at that time. And then, basically Mary was like, she's like, "Boy, where you been? We've been looking all over for you." You know what I'm saying?
God.
And Yahushua said, "I've been about my father's business," loosely paraphrasing. And at that point, that was the time where Yahushua and his family, they was coming up to Jerusalem to keep the Feast of the Tabernacle. You know what I'm saying? Or the Passover. They were coming up to keep that feast, and it says he had turned 12. So that also shows that you become a man when you turn 12 too. And like we just read in 1 Corinthians 11, Paul said, "When I became a man, I put away childish things." So that was Yahushua. He was basically making that transition from a child to being a man.
Right.
When he turned 12, he was debating and asking questions,
right.
because he was finna get ready to start his mission. He's finna start the business of his father. So that's what brothers got to be locked into the mindset, man. When you really come into this truth, man, you becoming a man. You being burnt up as a man. And now there's a level through that experience you're going to go through.
Right.
You got to be built up in the faith, man. But you got to put away childish things. And part of that childish nature is just running your mouth too much. Just not being wise if you're in a situation where you have to be around your family, or just dealing with your family or anybody in this world in general. You got to walk wisely, man. You don't have to teach everybody everything that you know. You need to be learning, because there's way more that you don't know than you think you know. As a younger brother, that's really how I guess I'm in the spirit to call or exhort. You know what I'm saying? You just need to be paying attention, listening, and working on applying the basic things that you're learning to your life, actually doing them.
Right.
And then your family will just see eventually, man. If you're a stand-up person, you're a stand-up person. You should be able to get along with everybody, like we read earlier. If it be possible, be peaceable with all men. Nobody should have nothing really too much bad to say. Like, for for better or worse, the only thing they should be able to say is, okay, he believes in whatever. If they know you, if they know you what you're a part of, but they really shouldn't have anything bad to say about you.
Right.
Okay. So like,
okay, that's all good. This is the last one I got right here. Mark chapter 9, verse 50. It says, "Salt is good, but if the salt have lost his saltiness, wherewith will ye season it? Have salt in yourselves, and have peace one with another."
That's right. Have salt among yourselves, man. Because you got to know how to use salt too. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you're cooking a meal or something, you got to know how to use salt.
Okay.
So brothers, especially in every part of your life, man, you got to use salt, meaning use wisdom, apply understanding to situations, knowing it ain't, especially at this time or any time, man, to just be mouthing off all the time amongst people in this world, which there's a platform for that on the highways and the byways first and foremost, and then on these YouTube channels, man, you can just put up a video if you got so much to say. Do the work. Action. Instead of all this mouth service at the house, just making everybody in your family hate you to where you didn't burn all bridges to where you can't plant nobody out of help if you needed it. You got to put yourself in a position to win, to do Yahweh Shai's business at the end of the day when it comes to family. I'll just answer it like that. And if your family's just a liability, they need to just be cut off anyway. If they just stopping you from being productive in this faith or just in any other part of your life, man. If your family's a hindrance, pray to the Lord to get you out of that situation to where you can cut them off from dealing with them, man. But if you could deal with your family, deal in wisdom. Knowing that they don't have this truth. You're the one who has the light. So you have the responsibility to be the example for them. If the Most High is to save any of them, it'll be through you.
Okay. That was the last verse on it. That's it.
So, were there any other precepts?
I mean,
because I think the point's made.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, there was one that I had in Matthew.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Because I could kind of over talk, but I mean, it's appropriate that this came up because man, there's been a lot of house cleaning through the spirit lately, brothers. Getting put out the camp or falling out or whatever the case may be. This just gonna happen in this thing of ours. But at the same time, a lot of new brothers, new faces is coming into this truth, man. So everything's relevant, Like this is excellent because this is something that all brothers gonna have a different testimonial about. In this truth, having to deal with family, and it's different levels based on everybody's situation, man, of how to deal with family and situations of family and how it concerns our doing this work. Go ahead,
this is Matthew chapter 6 verse 33. It says, "But seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you."
That's right, and that's simple instruction. Seek ye the kingdom and righteousness, man. Get this truth for yourself, man. You got to work out your own salvation, like it tells you in Philippians the 2nd chapter. Get this truth for yourself, and in just your example, just through you actively applying what you're learning, man, you can be an example to an unbeliever and convert them into the faith. Now you got fruit. You know what I'm saying? Because we are trying to seal up the election. You got to understand the mission, and anywhere in this world that you got to maneuver to better perfect that mission based on whatever measurement that the Spirit gave you. You gotta find a way to do that, man.
Proper discernment.
Exactly.
Verse 34, it says, "Take therefore no thought for the morrow, for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself."
That's right, and that's pretty much just worrying demons right there. That's going into, man. Tomorrow word by itself, man. Seize the day, carpe diem, they'll tell you. But hey, that's the truth, man. Hasten the day. That's what the scripture says. Furthermore, we gotta basically try to live, especially in these times, man. We gotta live every day like them pastors say. What if the Lord came back tomorrow? You gotta live every day like Yahweh Shai coming back, man.
Hey, because he is coming back.
Because that's the thing. We out there pushing, making these videos, and you don't believe that. So that belief, your work should reflect that you truly believe that, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it says in 2 Peter's the 3rd chapter, man. Seeing that these things shall come, what manner of man are you to be in all holy conversation and godliness? You gotta measure the time diligently, man. You gotta pay attention. You gotta walk circumspectly at all times, man. And that is especially the case around family, man. You know, because your family will be the main ones that'll get you trapped up. You know? So just know what you're dealing with, brothers. You know, hopefully this is exhorting to brothers, you know. You have anything to add?
You know, just like with what you're saying, brother, you know what I'm saying? Walking circumspectly is one of the most keen balances to this truth that you can have. You know, don't let a worry demon, don't let anything, man, like it says in Romans the 8th chapter, don't let anything separate you from the love that you have in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. You know, and unless we're reprobates, we pray that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua keeps the spirit on us to continue on. You know, it's really as simple as that. So, you know, yeah, we might feel a little uncomfortable, but hey, Yahweh was uncomfortable when he was on the cross, so we can feel uncomfortable for him, man. The Lord's trying our faith. So that's it.
Yeah, man. So I think the point's been made. You know, as always, want to just give double honors to our apostles and elders that taught us this truth, man. Always want to just say, call halal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Just peace and blessings to the sincere, hopeful elect Akim. Keep pushing this word, you know, with all sincerity, being diligent in this faith, man. You know, just praying to the Lord, you know, sending up these curses that the destruction of America is hastening, you know what I'm saying? Just so we can be delivered and get our kingdom, man. So all being said, we just want to say shalom.
Shalom.